It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Smooth and Savvy is joined by some of the hottest talent in the entertainment industry, from musicians to authors and all those in between, along with our own Periscope girl. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Mr. Smooth and Savvy himself, Douglas Coleman.
Hey, hey, hee, ha, ha, ho, ho, ho. Welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show. It's me, Douglas Coleman. How are you? We got another stellar show for you today, although I should say we have a Stelle show for you today, because my guest today, his name is Ron Stelle. Anyways, Ron is an author, and he's written a book called Extreme Options, which is a detective thriller type show, and detective thriller type book, which hopefully will become a show. I think he's looking at some movie deals, shopping it around for movie deals, and I hope it does, because for the little bit that he'll read for us in the interview, it really does have a detective thriller type movie theme about it, and I think it would make a great movie. So hopefully it comes to be a reality. The Douglas Coleman Show has an iPhone app now. I actually haven't tried it myself because I don't have an iPhone. Call me a little bit old-fashioned, but I haven't quite moved up to mobile device yet. My phone is still just a phone, although it does have a camera in it, but it doesn't have internet, and it's not anything like what everyone else is using. So I suppose I should get around to doing that. I think that would probably be a good idea, so I can check out my own app. But if you want to get the app, it's at the iPhone App Store, and just look for Douglas Coleman Show. Apparently, people that have used it have said it works, and it's a good app. So anyways, check that out. Also, a program that DJC Productions produces, Dusty Cover Show, will be going to a monthly format. Currently, it's a weekly format. We're going to be going to every Thursday, last Thursday of the month. I think it'll be a good show because we'll have more time to put together some quality material for you. So look for that. The last show will be on the 21st of January, the last weekly show. And then we're going to go to February, and the next show in February will be, let's see. Let me look at the calendar here. It'll be the 25th of February. 25th of February. So look for that at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, today, before we get to my guest, we're going to do a continuation of the musical review that I've been doing, which basically is just playing people who have been on the show last year. And we had so much great music, I didn't think it did them much justice just to play them once. So we're going to be playing them again. We've got 3 songs up for you today by 3 great artists, Wily Bo Walker, Tyson, Colman, and Greg White Jr. And the songs that are going to be played are Long Way to Heaven by Wily Bo Walker, Tyson Colman in Shines Like Gold, and Long Road by Greg White Jr. But before we get to them, I think I hear our Periscope girl checking in, so let's check in with her. Hello, Periscope girl.
Aye, aye, Captain. Shiver me timbers, the Twitter app Periscope has now been able to be viewed live on your Twitter stream. Remember now, me hearties, it's free, so download it. All you need is a Twitter account. And blow me down, Periscope has been going for nearly a year now, and in that time, Jenny, me octopus, and I have been viewing some mighty fine scopes. Run up a sale, landlovers. But also we fell part of some serious stuff, like the Paris tragedies and the Syrian refugees crisis. But some fun as well. Stuff like live music and exploring new places. Jenny liked Niagara Falls. But Jenny says, bless my barnacles, make no bones about it, Periscope is grand. But all squidding aside, see you online, my hearties. Over and out, Captain. Rawr.
Okay, Periscope girl, thank you so much for that wonderful report. Glad to see that you and Jenny are doing well. Must be cold there in the North Atlantic. Hope you've got good heating in your submarine. And now, let's get on to the music. Here is Long Way to Heaven, Shines Like Gold, and Long Road.
Folks we both are. Some hold on to dreams, some hold on to the fear they're just growing old. Louise turns to Johnny, puts her hand into his with a smile only he knows. Says Louise, well, I don't know how far we've come down this road. This town don't hold the same fascination. I don't know which way we should go. He looks across to the sun sinking down in the shimmering gold. I don't know what they call a place you can't return from. Lord, I don't wanna know. Tired and alone and a long way from home, Johnny and sweet Louise pulled their hopes out of the ocean, hand in hand in a sweet summer breeze. That's a long way to heaven. That's a long way home.
into it. People turn their heads as you walk by. You're like a princess, regal, proud and tall. Beauty and grace with no effort at all. You have a certain style, it's on your own. The whole world's your stage, you play your home. Movie stars and queens won't be like you, but none can ever compare with what you naturally do. And if the stars shone half as bright as you, then the world wouldn't seem as cold and blue. Your smile's like music to my soul. What was dark and torn now shines like gold. Now shines like gold. Our lives had crossed before we met. No coincidence there, destiny out there. And if the stars shone half as bright as you, then the world wouldn't seem as cold and blue. Your smile's like music to my soul. What was dark and torn now shines like gold. Now shines like gold. And if the stars shone half as bright as you, then the world wouldn't seem as cold and blue. Your smile's like music to my soul. What was dark and torn now shines like gold. Now shines like gold. Yeah, it shines like gold.
Well, I've always had these dreams that are bigger than me, a much bigger picture than I can't even see. Like Edison before electricity, can I get there? Desire doesn't explain the emotion I feel when I work so hard spinning my wheels. And sometimes the doubt comes creeping, can I get there? but it's a long road home. It might be heaven bound for I know, but I gotta take my place amongst the bold who tried like hell. Down the long road, down the long road, down the long road, down the long road, yeah, yeah.
Rummismaði klettagjá, kaldri vetrar nóttu á, verður margt að meini, verður margt að meini.
Traveling through the tundras of Iceland, through the fjords of Norway, all the way to the assembly line at the Volvo plant in Sweden, from the home of ABBA, our very own Olaf Fnirgerson. Okay, Olaf, welcome back to the show. Glad to have you with us again. I understand that you brought a couple of songs with you that you wanted to have featured on the show. As you know, I'm always happy to play indie music and new music. I'm very excited that you brought some songs that you wanted to share with us. We're pretty flexible as far as genre is concerned. You know, as long as it's good music, that's really my only qualifications. So let me hear what you've got. What have you got for us today?
Oh, tack Douglas, tack för att ha mig tillbaka på din show. Jag har 3 riktigt bra låtar som jag har väldigt mycket tacksam om du kunde spela på din show. Alla dessa låtar är fantastiska och jag är säker på din amerikanska politiken kommer att älska dem.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Always happy to do it. So why don't we just listen to the first song that you got? Can you give us the title of the first one, please?
Den kallas för Oh My God av några norska killar.
Oh, Norwegians, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's listen to this one. All right, here we go. This is Oh My God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm looking for a sailor.
Oh my God, I'm looking for the sea.
Oh my God. I'm looking for a sailor.
I hope he does find his sailor anyways. No, that doesn't quite do it. What else have you got, Olaf?
Okej, kanske du kommer att gilla den här nästa bättre. Den är riktigt supersång. Jag spelar den hela tiden. Jag älskar verkligen den här sång. Bror, du ska komma att älska den också. Den kallas för Jag är en fattig bondedräng.
Really? Fucking Boondebring, huh? Okay. All right, let's have a listen to this one.
Jag är en gammal fiskargubbe heter Olaf ner. Jag har sån reumatism i ryggen och ont i ena knä. Nu är jag både trött och tung och blicken min den är slö. Men jag har också varit ung och trotsat storm och sjö.
Yeah, well, okay, Olaf. I don't know. I think I like the first song better. This is good music, huh? This is really really good stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, if you say so. All right. Well, that's not really what we want for the show. I think that you're kind of missing the point of what we do here on the Douglas Coleman Show. But there is one more, so let's see. Tell us about this last song, huh?
Oh, ja, den här nummer 1 sången i Sverige. Den kallas för du vaken Lars.
Well, okay. You know, I really hope that this song is good because, I don't know, the last two, they just, I don't know, they didn't quite hit me in the right spot. We'll see. Okay, so what's this one called again?
Hauser Er du Wackenlars.
Er du Wackenlas. All right.
Ah.
So this is really, really a good one, yeah? This is a great one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's listen to Er du Wackenlas.
Du vaken Lars, du vaken Lars, har du tvättat händerna, tvättat händerna? Du vaken Lars, har du borstat händerna?
Okay, are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. I just can't believe you would bring this to my show. I mean, come on. The songs went from bad to worse. I mean, this is outrageous. You have no concept of what it is that we do on this show here. I cannot believe this.
Yeah, better in ABBA or Roxette.
Better than ABBA. Well, I sort of doubt that.
Roxette. Ace of Base.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Goodbye, Olaf.
Barbie.
We'll be right back.
With Adventure Boundless, best-selling author Jane Yates follows up her acclaimed Paradox Child trilogy with Garden, a steampunk science fiction novel with fantasy overtones, enjoyable for all ages. Inspired by the classic novel The Secret Garden, Garden begins with 11-year-old Aberdeen living in space above a perilous Earth. Aberdeen is looked after by her robot nanny, but she is often used to being alone, dreaming of dragons and castles. The sudden death of her parents forces her to live with her neglectful uncle on Earth and is captivated to find a world repairing itself. Fascinated by her new surroundings, Aberdeen makes new friends and explores the boarded-up house, only to discover a mysterious tunnel leading to wondrous things. Follow Aberdeen's journey of self-discovery, of trials and friendship. Garden narrated by acclaimed actress Anna Parker Naples.
Hi there, this is Stuart Epps from the UK, record producer, engineer. You might have heard of me. I've worked with artists from Elton John to Led Zeppelin to Bad Company, Twisted Sister, Robbie Williams, Oasis, many great bands and artists in the past and the present and hopefully in the future. But you can work with me as well. You know, all you got to do is get in touch with me on eppsmusicproductions.com. That's EPPsproductionsmusic.com. And I can help you with your productions and with your recordings. A lot of people do home recordings now, which you can only take so far. Maybe they need a bit of professional help. So get in touch with me and we can sort it out. And thanks for Douglas Coleman for giving me the spot. Thanks a lot. Cheers, bye.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! No doubt about it. I gotta get another hat.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
My guest today is Ron Stelle. Ron has written 6 novels, from coming-of-age comedies to supernatural thrillers. His latest work, Extreme Options, is a fast-paced detective murder mystery that throws the Irish pair of Bryce Mallory and Seamus Crawley into a whirlwind of excitement as they match wits with the high-stakes killer who gives his victims a chance to walk away if they win the bet. Ron enjoys playing rock guitar and drums, spending time with his wife Sandy, and his children and his grandchildren. He also enjoys motivating others to follow their dreams. Okay, please welcome Ron Stelle. Hi, Ron. How are you?
Hi, Douglas. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. I was reading through your bio. It sounds very interesting. The first question I got to ask you is, it says that you started writing very late in life. What were you doing before that?
Well, I was a rock musician growing up till about 24, and then I found an inclination that I wanted to serve my country, believe it or not, and I joined the Navy and stayed there for 23 years. Retired. I was a navigator on several ships, senior enlisted navigator, and the last one being the Nassau troop carrier. And I retired in 2001, 3 months before 9/11. So
wow.
That was wished I hadn't at the time, but it's been a while now. So then I went into service advising for different cars because I'd had some experience with that in the past, and then the writing thing happened.
Okay, you said you were playing music. I'm also a musician. What kind of music were you doing?
Well, I always did the contemporary at the time. We're talking 70s. The basic what's classic rock now, drums and guitar, depending on whichever band I was in. I put bands together in the Navy and still played rock all the way up until 1999 was the last time, and I still got the equipment, but I don't actively do gigs anymore. Nothing's come my way in a while, but classic rock all the way, buddy.
Oh, well, I think we're on the same page there, because that's basically what I was doing. I was a musician still am, but started doing the radio show as kind of a way to promote my music and other people's music. And the radio show has been taking off. So I think in this kind of business and entertainment business, which I also consider writers to be a part of this business, it's kind of whatever you can do to get your name out there, to get people to know who you are. It all sort of goes hand in hand. I mean, I know a lot of people who write who are also musicians, who are actors, who are comedians. I mean, they just do whatever they can do in this business to make a wave.
I completely agree with that. It seems that there's a talent bug in some folks, and it comes out in various ways. I also like to take pictures and then turn them into paintings at times, I think that some folks are born with the gift of entertainment in one way or the other, and it's expressed in various ways. I just grew up loving the music. I just wanted to make the music. I never became an Eddie Van Halen or anything like that, but I was able to keep a good beat and play. So I agree. I think that the entertainment industry is very competitive, and my goal really is I just want people to enjoy my work. I want them to enjoy it. I want them to get a break from reality and sit down and be able to dive into another world for a while.
Well, that's just it. It's escapism. People that are entertainers like to be entertained as much as they like to entertain. So it kind of goes both ways. But yeah, people that have a certain talent for it, you find yourself sort of compelled to do it. I mean, it's similar. I started out doing music when I was 18. Well, I mean, I've been playing since I was a little kid, but I went serious for it at 18 and then took a 20-year break and worked a real job. And then, came back to it 20 years later. In a sense, it sounds like you did sort of the same thing as I did. You went into the Navy, and then now you're back to writing, which I want to talk about. What got you inspired to start writing?
I guess in 97 or so, I was compelled to write a story to submit to the New York Post about a trip I made up to New York. It's hilarious, and I won't go into too much detail, but it felt good to do it. It was completely atrocious as far as editing would go, and I wrote it on paper, and then I typed it, and then I just stuffed it in an envelope and sent it. And they sent it back a few months later saying thanks, but not for us. But so I stopped for a while. It wasn't something that I was compelled to continue to do at that time. However, I got into the Facebook thing because I wanted to touch base with my high school buddies. We had a big class, so there was a lot of friendships, and I saw this as an opportunity to do that. And over the years, I'd felt also compelled to try to uplift people, try to help them. So I started doing what I call a short pause on Facebook, which is a daily motivational. You see, hundreds of them all the time. Just something to inspire someone. Maybe it'll touch somebody when they need it. My wife was reading them. And one day, and this is just how it happened. I'm sitting on one end of the couch. I've got the dog in the middle, and she's on the other. And she looks at me and she goes, "You need to write a book." So, excuse me? You need to write a book. You have a gift of words, and you need to go ahead and write yourself a book, and you need to start today. So I said, "Yes, ma'am," because she's in charge. And
it's usually the way it works.
Yeah, and I decided, what can I do? And the first thing that popped into my mind was growing up in the 60s, and I thought, the children today are all obsessed with their thumbs. And I said, I'm going to write a book about what it was like to grow up without electronics, without having to go outside. And you've seen it before. People are always, fawning back on the days of way back when. But so I put out a book about growing up in the 60s. it was well received and it was fun to do, and it was atrocious again in the editing. I did a self-publication with the company, but it was good. I mean, it felt good. It took me 7 weeks to write 300 pages. Came out of me like a waterfall, and then when I got done, I realized I wanted to keep doing it. So I wrote 6 more, all different genres. So she actually said to do it, and I took her advice, and it turned out to be the right move.
What was that book called?
The Streets of Our Youth. It's funny. Now I'm 61, so I love my age because I'm young at heart and healthy. So I started it in my 3rd grade class in 1963 when President Kennedy was shot. That's the opening page. Anybody in my era will automatically be able to focus on that time in their lives by that.
Sure.
But it's not down at all. It was how 9-year-olds handled it at the time. We went home and go, wow, there's nothing on TV but black and white news coverage, and goes from there. And my style of writing, I have found that even on my serious books, my supernatural thrillers, or my crime, detective crime stories, there is a lot of humor in them. That's, I guess you would say, that is my style. I find myself putting what a lot of folks think is very funny passages, or even 3 or 4 pages devoted to something funny in a serious book, to try to give people a chance to back off from the thrill or the horror or whatever it might be, and enjoy the book and get a good laugh.
Well, you and I are almost the same age. I'm a little bit younger. I'm 54 this year. I understand that whole thing about how different it was. I'm sure every generation that passes does the same thing. My grandparents certainly said to me, oh, it's so different when they grew up like in the early 1920s. So from growing up in the early 1920s to the 1960s, yeah, it would have been different. They didn't have TV and they didn't have this and that. But again, it's a lot of things I think have been lost, where we grew up going outside and playing and talking to people for real. I'm all for technology. I love it. I've got, all of it. But I think there was a price to pay for that kind of technology, and certain things have gotten lost. One of them is the music, because music now is created so much by computer that I think a lot of the soul that we had in the music of the 60s and the 70s has disappeared. And I think that's sad, because when I hear the music now, it just sounds mechanical. It sounds like there's no feeling to it. There's no soul to it.
You remember the live concerts we went to as young adults? Well, I still go to them, but there was something magical about it. The audience and the band had a symbiosis relationship. They gave, we gave. It was great.
All right, yeah.
You know what I mean. It's there's nothing like a live audience and such. But right, you had to create the music with your skill and your talent, and maybe you had a fuzz buster or a wah pedal, or maybe even a digital delay. And I love that stuff. When I'm going to play Pink Floyd, you got to have it. But I agree with you 100%. I think the art of conversation's somewhat been lost. I think that imagination for the kids, we developed imaginations because we had to make up games to play and things to do, and read comic books or read books or something. So I do think that it's a more radical shift from what our grandparents had from us to the 60s. But I 100% agree that every generation looks back in my day, and that's probably a rite of passage, and I guess we all go through it, and we get at this age, I'm like, wow, I'm doing it. But
well, it's just kind of funny, because I can remember as a teenager my father not being amused that I was blasting Led Zeppelin from my bedroom, and
my dad hated it.
But to me, Led Zeppelin was, probably one of the best bands of the 70s. And, now when I hear the music now, I think, oh, God. So it's just, I have to laugh, because in one sense, I think, well, I'm turning into my dad. But right. Then in my head, I can justify it by saying, well, no, but it's not the same thing. This is not, and going through the whole justification process of it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's generational, or if it's if we actually have a real argument there for the kids. I really don't know.
I don't know. I don't get some of the music. No offense to anybody. I've just never really done much into the rap scenario. It just didn't work for me. But I'm a rocker at heart. That's just what I prefer. I've watched country music lean highly into the rock realm. What I hear now on those country western shows is what I call country rock, because they're playing hard riffs on the lead, and it's got that. You notice that too. So it carries over. It is a great music that we helped bring to fruition. And I have kids, that are grown and such, and I go for it. Have your life. Find something that's yours. Enjoy it. Do something great. Music is one of the greatest things in life. There's nothing better for the soul than to listen to music when you need to.
Oh, I agree. And you're right about country music. The rock and rollers of the 70s, that style of music has migrated over to country because it's no longer mainstream. There seems to be a 30-year time frame where what's considered mainstream music changes. And I use that 30-year timeline starting from when recorded music became popular, say back in the 20s, when it was really when people started buying records. So you look at from the 20s to the 50s, mainstream music was jazz. And then in the 50s, it changed to rock and roll. From 50s to the 80s, it was rock and roll. Then in the 80s, rap started coming in. So now the 30 years is up. So I don't know what's going to be the next thing. I have no idea. I hope it changes to something else.
I saw a show the other night where they had a new country singer, the long-haired guy. He played with who's that guy that was with the Backstreet Boys? They did a song together, and it was quite entertaining, but I don't know if I would call it country or rock.
Justin Timberlake?
Yes.
Okay.
They had a song together on this show, and it was really good, but I guess I could have put it in either place. I don't really care for the synthetic voices where the voices are being upheld by
auto-tuners. That's
police, and then that's just me, to each his own. As far as music goes, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, and it makes you feel good, then go for it. But until I depart this world, it'll be rock and roll for me.
I think auto-tuning is cheating. I don't like it. I don't accept it.
Thank you.
It just, to me, it's the same thing as an athlete who does steroids. It's cheating. That's the best way I can say it. You can make somebody who doesn't sing, I even have one. It came built in on a vocal processor that I use. And when I sing into the auto-tuner, it takes me out of tune. It's so funny.
I like that.
It just doesn't work. If you sing out of tune, it'll bring you back. But if you sing on key, it takes you out. So
that tells you something, right?
Yeah.
You're using folks who can't sing in key.
Exactly. Let's get back to your book here. Your latest work is called Extreme Options. It sounds interesting. It actually sounds like a great movie. Have you been shopping any of these for movie deals?
I am at this point in time. My publicist is doing a treatment to submit it to some high-profile folks. I agree with you. When I was writing it, I was thinking this would actually be a great movie. And it's the one before it, which was the Extreme Ramifications, the same thing. It does feel like it. It has a duo, a couple of Irish Americans who are very reminiscent of the Lethal Weapon type. In other words, remember the comedy I told you I infused into the writing?
Yes.
They're badass, all right, and they're going to go take care of business, and there's going to be some intense scenes, and you're going to see what you need to see in a thriller. But at the same time, there's going to be passages that you better not be eating anything when you read it. So they interact with an Irish brogue. It's like, is it putting the coward's name on me, yar? And they just go back and forth at each other, just like any of the famous duos throughout the cinema that people enjoyed watching. So yeah, I'd like to see it become a movie.
Well, good. I hope that does come out to be a movie.
Thank you.
One of the things, speaking of technology and changing landscapes, ebooks and audiobooks have certainly changed the landscape for authors. How do you feel that has affected authors? Is it positive or negative in terms of ability to make money in this business, because this business, and I'm just saying this business as in the whole encompassing of the entertainment industry, has always been a difficult business to make money in, typically feast or famine. But with the technology, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because on one hand, now anybody can record music at home if they've got a computer and some software. That wasn't possible in the 80s or the 70s. Mm-hmm. With authors, okay, everybody can always have been able to write. But to get your stuff out there, is it easier now that you can put something out in an ebook or an audiobook, or is it still the same challenges?
I'll be frank with you. It is extremely easy to get your work published. There's probably 3 million books out there right now that people have self-published through what's called CreateSpace on Amazon. You can write a book, you can edit it yourself, you can go to CreateSpace and they'll format it for you, and then you can put it on Amazon as an ebook without ever having to go to a publisher, a editor, or anything like that. And of course, there's some work out there that is probably not of the highest quality, to be kind. And there's so much to choose from now. To have your work seen in that kind of competition is rare unless you have a great deal of friends. And I was telling folks, who've been asking me how I've been becoming so successful, is you have to get noticed by someone that can get you into a different level. Like I said, I actually did that. I went ahead and published my own books, several of them through that avenue. And I don't make any money on that, but I don't know if I'm going to say it's good or bad, because some folks break out starting that way. But it doesn't mean the same anymore when you say you're a published author, because your little sister can be a published author and she wrote 15 pages and call it a novella. So this is the truth. There's a ton, it's an incredible amount of books out there that people just put together and publish it themselves. And I wish them luck. I miss the fact that, I like to pick up a book and go sit down and get immersed in it. I think if you're able to go on an iPad or a computer and read a book without getting interrupted by a message or a Facebook chime or something else like that, then that's awesome. But if you have that, if you're reading on a tablet or something, then you might get interrupted by this, that, and the other thing. And I think it takes you out of the story a little bit. But it can make you money if you are successful. Like right now, Stephen King or James Patterson, all their books are available in all the E categories, and they probably make a good bit of money because of who they are, and people will download them because they're cheaper than a paperback or a hardcover. You have to be able to break out, and by break out, someone needs to notice you that can get you a high profile.
Well, I guess it sounds to me exactly the same as what's happened with music.
Yes.
The playing field has been leveled, and anyone can put a song out and put it on a website right next to Paul McCartney. The problem with it is that it's cheapened the product. Like you said, there's a lot of stuff out there that just isn't really very good. And you have to compete with all that. Your stuff gets thrown into the mix with all of this other stuff. And in order for your stuff to stand out, you've got to do something. And what exactly that is kind of the mystery. How do you get noticed? How do you take it to the next level? Because people who do it themselves can get to a certain point. You can get 100,000 followers on Twitter. You can get your Facebook maxed out. You can get to a certain point, but then how do you kick it up to the next run on the ladder?
Well, I'll tell you what I believe this to be true. You need to have, first of all, a publicist, a PR firm, a publishing company or a publishing house that takes your book, gives you professional editing, gives you professional covers, goes out there and fights to get you in bookstores, gets you on radio interviews, gets you a script turned into a treatment and sent to high-profile folks, or having high-profile folks maybe read your books. You need help from someone that knows the people that can take it to the next level. For a book writer, it has to be it's luck, but you have a lot better chance at it if you go ahead and find yourself with a firm that their job is to get you noticed. I don't think of any other way you could do it unless you just got so lucky that the book just was so good that it just, by word of mouth, just flew out of control, kind of like what they call a YouTube viral. So, but that's very rare. So you have to maybe be willing to take the next step and get a professional product. And then you have to be willing to have someone that's going to go for you and get you noticed in the places that you need to be noticed to get it to that level.
Is the ultimate goal for authors, aside from getting their work published by a major publisher, is the goal for a lot of them to get it to the movies, to get it made into a script? Or do you think a lot of them are not interested in doing that?
It depends on what you're writing, I would think. I didn't much think about my coming-of-age novels. I've got 2 of them being a movie just because of the way they're written. But my 1 supernatural thriller and the 2 detective murder mysteries, even when I was writing them, I thought this would make a good movie. And, of course, who wouldn't like to see their work turned into a movie as long as it was relatively the same? Because then you could see on the screen your vision.
Right.
So I would have to say that's probably something that most writers would like. If my efforts don't pan out, am I going to be disappointed? Not really, because I'll keep writing books, and I've got a publisher now, and they'll keep coming out, and I'm okay in life. So whether I become a household name or whether I just write my books and people who enjoy them reading them, I'm okay with that. And I think that's the best attitude to have, whether you're a musician or a writer, is just enjoy what you're doing. And if something comes out of it that makes your life a little easier, my goal, I want a house by a lake where all I have to do is write stories. I don't care about picture on the paper and all that. I just would like to be able to make a living writing to a point where I could not have to do anything else.
Well, that's really a great goal, because so many artists have to do some other kind of work. And it's typically something that isn't in the creative realm. I know for me, I did for 20 years. And what it does is it ends up sort of zapping your creative energy, because you have to put all this energy into something else that by the time you get home from work, you don't want to write. you don't want to play music. You just want to, have your dinner and go to bed. It took me a while to get back to where I could get that side of my brain going again, because I just sort of put it on hold for 20 years. And, after a while, it got a little dusty and musty. I don't mean to put you on the spot. Do you have any of your work that you wanted to read a short passage from, just to give us a little sample?
All right, I'm going to read the first chapter of my of Extreme Options. Now, remember, this is something that's supposed to get you to a point where what I call a hook, a grab.
Okay.
And then I can have a second. We'll do that, and if you want to hear something funny, I can do that too. All right, it opens up like this. It's chapter 1 is called Options, and I'll go ahead and read that. It's only a page and a half, so it's not that long.
Okay.
You have 2 options. Option 1, I shoot you in the head, and then you are free. No more fear, no pain. Option 2, I will flip this silver dollar, and if you win, you get to leave, and you'll never see me again. If you lose, well, if you lose, then I'm going to kill you very slowly over a period of a day or 2 using surgical tools, barbed wire, pipes, pliers, and electrical shock and acid. I am very proficient in this manner of execution. So, what do you say? Larry, you seem like an intelligent man, and you offer me a kindness with option 1. But may I ask a question before I give you my answer? You may ask your question, my lovely, but have no doubt there is nothing you can say that will change the scenario in any way. Why me? What in the world did I ever do to you that you would want to cause me such mental anguish and possibly utter despair and annihilation? Why me? Angelica was trying very hard not to babble or break down, but her training had taught her that you must keep the conversation going for when the talking stopped. Angelica Castle was a 34-year-old attractive brunette who was single and a behavioral psychologist who worked with different law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, interviewing and analyzing those individuals with aberrant personalities that preyed on the world. Never in a million years did she believe that she would need her training as much as she did right now. The man was nondescript, average in every way. He seemed very cordial while delivering the worst possible news one human could tell another. The man looked pensive while flipping a silver dollar over and under his fingers, then thoughtful for a moment, smiled, and said, Why not you? I'm a sociopathic monster without conscience, right? Maybe I just choose random folk. Maybe I chose you 2 months ago. Who knows? What I do know is this. It's time for you to choose. Wait, I'm not ready yet. You have 10 seconds to choose, or option 1 goes away, as well as the flip of the coin. Do you understand what that means? Angelica, who was starting to break down as the reality of impending doom cemented itself firmly in her awareness, shook her head yes. Choose now! Flip, you fucker, flip, Angelica screamed back. You may call it, my dear, the man said as he took out a silver dollar and flipped it in the air. Tails. The coin flipped in the air in slow motion as if the fate of a human being's life weighted down and then landed on the carpet with a light thump. That's it.
Wow. You know, the movie that came to mind, the first thing I thought of was that movie Seven.
Wow. That's with Kevin Spacey, right?
Yes, and Brad Pitt. Yeah, that's the one that came to mind when you were reading that. Wow, it was great. Definitely makes me want to read it.
That's the dark side of it. And remember, again, I do have I have the funny parts. So you read that, then the next chapter is something a lot less intense. So, you know, that's how I like to do it.
Okay, so this is from Extreme Options, right?
Correct.
You said the book is available on Amazon, ebook, all of that?
Amazon has the hard copy and the ebooks. It's also at Barnes & Noble. We're putting them in, my publicist is now working on putting them in the Barnes & Noble stores. And I do expect to see pretty much everywhere available if everything pans out that we're trying to do within the next couple of months.
What's a hard copy book like that cost these days?
$19.95 about, typically.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, you know, we try to keep it reasonable. You get what you pay for, I think. And truthfully, to be honest, I think the book is quite good. Without trying to sound arrogant, I mean, I've read in the Navy, I probably read 2,000 books because you have a lot of spare time on your hand when you're at sea. I got a passion for it, and the folks that have read it have given me very high praise on it. So I think that it's probably something worth reading. Each to each his own. But if you like that type of a book, I do believe you would come back satisfied.
I mean, I like to read both, either an ebook or, you know, a real book, as I say, because it's sort of the difference between listening to a song that's an MP3 file or listening to an album.
That's a good analogy.
It's kind of the same thing. Sometimes you really want the album, you know, so you can hold it and you can look at the notes on it. And but other times it's not convenient to do that. If you're on an airplane, you know, get the pad out and you can sit there and read, and it's just much more convenient. You know, carrying around a hardback book in your hand carry gets a little tiring on your shoulder.
Oh, absolutely, and I agree with you. If you're a reader and you can sit down and read, by all means, it's the same book, so why not?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Ron, listen, we're going to kind of wrap this up. Can you give people your websites so people can go and find you and see what you got out there?
The best place to go is ronstelle.com. Very simple. RONSTELLE.com. It'll take you to my author page, which has web links to all of my Twitter. It has I have a book club on there you can join for free prizes and book giveaways. It also has all of the books available and how to go right to the website to purchase them if you'd like. So that's the easiest realm. And of course, if you want to friend me on Facebook, just my name, Ron Stelle. I'm happy to talk with folks, to answer questions, to message, whatever you want to do. I'm very open to the public, and I do typically, as long as it remains reasonable, if somebody wants to get a hardcover and send it to me, I'll sign it and send it back to them at my cost.
Oh, super. Okay, Ron. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. This was a interesting conversation. It was best of luck to you. I hope your book does well. I hope to see it in a movie sometime soon. I think
Douglas, I do
great.
too, and it was a pleasure talking with you. I enjoyed the conversation immensely.
Okay, take care. Well, that's about all the time we've got for the show today. I want to thank my special guest, Ron Stelle, for coming on the show. Thank you very much, Ron. This is Douglas Coleman saying goodbye.
To the mile, you've got to run, not walk. To give a sermon, you've got to preach, not talk. time.